Hi, I'm Brian, and today we'll be continuing on the paper P5, June 2017 exam question paper. Now, in earlier videos, I have already discussed questions requirements, part I and part II. So today we'll be talking about part III or part 3, evaluate the other aspects of reporting in the DS performance dashboard. So when we talk about other aspects of reporting over here, since we have already answered requirement 1 and 2, we are talking about other aspects of reporting which are not specifically answered in part I and part II. Okay, now before we start, I would like you to look at the question, and it gives some hints on what exactly you need to do to answer part 3. Take some time and look at the question now. Pause the video. Okay, so if you've taken a look at the question, were you able to find the sentences which would help you in answering part 3? These sentences would be somewhere around here. You will have a mission which says the mission of DS is to give shareholders maintainable profitable growth in developing the best talent to provide world-class services with maximum efficiency. So when we are looking at the performance dashboard, which is over here, we want to keep that mission in mind when evaluating the reporting dashboard. Number 2, there's a very important sentence which is over here. The CEO has asked you to evaluate 3 aspects of strategic performance reporting, and the third aspect, the report should evaluate the other presentational aspects of the dashboard against best practice. So best practice usually means things that should be done. That means we're looking at things which are missing from the report now, things that should be there but maybe were not there. Okay, so knowing these 2 things, we will keep them in mind, and let's make some general observations about the dashboard which you will find over here. Okay, so first of all, you will be able to see the presentation of the report should be evaluated against best practice, as we've mentioned earlier. The report is quite clear and concise. You have just a few lines and it's very easy to read. General observations. You can write this in your answer. The use of ratios makes for very quick understanding. There's a lot of percentages and they're generally easy to understand. Data allows for internal comparison for certain KPI. Most of the information is given allows for quick internal comparison between the business segments, cleaning, catering, and such. It includes both some financial as well as non-financial indicators such as management retention and stuff like that. However, it does only include internal indicators. So this is something that you can keep in mind when you're answering the question. You can mention this in your exam. And let's move on. It does not include any historical comparisons so far. It does provide one line of historical comparisons here, which is by year 2015 versus 2016, but it does not give historical comparisons for each business segment. Now, the other aspects of reporting will need to be assessed according to the mission. So if we look at the mission again over here, there's a mention of shareholders. Over here, there's a mention of shareholders. There is also a mention of world-class services. Now, the only way we know that we're providing world-class services is if we're comparing to an external benchmark. Finally, you have some focus on efficiency. So this would be a management performance evaluation. So there are some KPIs there to evaluate management performance. Okay, so this you can do actually during your reading time or your question planning. You should mention these in your answer. And now we're going to look at the performance dashboard in general and try to pick up some stuff which relates to these 3 things over here. So first of all, let's talk about the mention of shareholders in the mission. Okay, this report does not have much information to assist this particular stakeholder, which is the shareholders. You have, among the items here, operating profit margin, revenue, and order book and revenue growth, it does provide some indication of growth and the current profitability. But one very key aspect, shareholder returns, is not really covered because you only have ROCE and it is not split by business segment. They only give you as a total. So let's see what's here. ROCE is provided but not broken down by business segment. So you cannot compare these each different business segment to each other. The historical ROCE is not provided. As you can see here, there is no historical comparison here. They only give you a general one, which is 16% for 2015. Other measures important to shareholders may have been included, which might improve the usability of this report. One example would be earnings per share, dividend per share, probably absolute business segment and profitability figures. Then they can calculate what was the actual revenue and things like that. So these three additional measures may have improved the usability of this report. Now let's look at our second part of our answer, which is the provision of world-class services. We need to focus on benchmarks, and obviously here there is no external comparative benchmarks for cleaning and security for all these different segments. So it is difficult to determine the competitiveness of dashboard services. Now, when we are evaluating focus on efficiency, the KPIs should provide a means to evaluate manager performance over here. So let's take a look. A breakdown of results by business sector helps for internal benchmarking. They have provided each different segment with ratios, so that's good. It allows you to compare between these different segments. However, it's difficult to make a fair comparison between these segments due to maybe characteristics of that particular sector and also some internal characteristics. So like maybe one of the segments is new, or other segments are older and more mature. The idea of the market, is it mature or is it growing? So there's a lot of information which is not really stated here. For example, each sector's profitability may differ, making profit margin comparisons less reliable. For example, you have operating profit margin for building services is significantly lower than catering, for example. Maybe the general building services industry has a lower profitability. Labor market for each sector may differ, and this would affect the interpretation of management retention. So for example, maybe in the full service sector, the management retention is better because people don't usually move around, or you don't really have much competitors to move to. But as you can see, security, the turnover is quite high, maybe due to fatigue, maybe due to influx of workers or something like that. The growth rate of each sector may differ. So you have cleaning, security, and catering and building services. They might have different growth rates. Maybe catering is a fast-growing, maybe building services is a very fast-growing sector. That's why here 8.1 outperforms security, for example, which might have been a mature sector. So in conclusion, this report is pretty brief, pretty concise, but it should have more historical, that means time-based, as well as external indicators to assist in evaluating shareholder returns, which was mentioned in the mission, and management performance. So that would be my answer over here. Thank you very much for watching. What you can do is I will put up this answer of mine in bullet form, and it's downloadable in the about section of this video. You can download the question paper as well as my bullet point answer, which you can use in your exam, on the comments below. And yeah, please take a look at my other P5 videos to help you with your studies. Thank you very much.